We have Joe Smith on the line in Raheny. Joe, you're very welcome.
Sarah, how are you?
Not too bad now at all. So you work in construction and you saw something recently.
We're just doing a bit of... we're just doing a little bit of a leak job up here in Raheny.
Great, okay.
And we're just across the road from where there's a funeral going on this morning. We came across a bit of a situation, thought it was very, very strange and completely disrespectful to the people who had the deceased member of the family, you know.
Okay, so tell me about it. You were working there this morning, and what did you see?
Well, yeah, we're working the last few days. With a man called Robert. He's actually here beside me. He lives across the road from where the funeral was taking place this morning, and he made us a cup of tea there around 10:30. We said we'd go in and have a cup of tea. So we're sitting at the table, and Robert said, "You won't believe what happened." He said, "Did you see the funeral across the road this morning?" I said, "We did, yeah. We saw the cars, lots of cars there and the whole lot." So the next thing he said, "You won't believe what's after happening." He said, "Two of the cars were clamped." And I said, "If you're joking." So now I really thought more about it, and it kind of stayed in the back of my mind for a few minutes. And I went out and had a look down and saw the two cars clamped. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't believe it. No double yellow lines. One was parked up on the grass verge, and the other one was a little bit up on the grass verge and on the road as well. And no markings as regards no parking, anything like that. These people, one of the cars was an Auden car. I was speaking to the woman, and she was after coming back from the mass and couldn't get into her car. It was clamped, and she was in an off state. And the other was a relation of the deceased member of the family, deceased person. So I said, "This is absolutely disgraceful." So I rang yourselves just to highlight it. I tried to get through to Dublin City Council myself, or get through to a local TV. It's in our part of the country, if someone dies and it's, there's a procession through the town or that, everyone just stops to pay their respects. And here you go along, people paying their respects in Dublin, and the next thing, cars are clamped outside the man's house.
And what's your part of the country?
Navan, County Meath.
Okay, so you're saying in Navan then, if there's a funeral, you don't think you'd ever see the likes of this in Navan? Not
a chance, not a hope in hell would have happened. Like if there's a funeral procession going through the town in Navan, the old way, we'd be, original members of the family, is to say, we'd be locals. And the tradition was that if there's a funeral car coming, just people stop and let the funeral car pass,
Yeah.
Just pay the respect to the person that's dead. I just completely was blown away by this morning. I thought Robert was messing when he said the cars were clamped. I didn't have a look. And I just thought it was unreal.
And is there any chance, do you think the clampers didn't know what was going on?
They did know, because Robert pointed it out to the guy that was clamping the cars. He said, "There's a funeral in progress here," he said, "because you not just give them a few minutes and let them, let the people pay their respects, because they're heading up to the funeral mass and then on to the graveyard." And the boys just went ahead. I wasn't speaking to the guys that were doing the clamping. I was inside at the time. Robert, who's the man we were working for, he spoke to them, and he pointed out to them that that there was a funeral in progress, and that was there any real need to do what they were doing.
Yeah, and
they just kept on doing what they were. Yeah,
they didn't respond, or they didn't, or I don't know. Did they say anything back?
Robert's here beside me, and if you want to speak to Robert, I'd put him on to you. He'd tell you word for word what he said to them.
Yeah, sure, Robert. If we wouldn't mind if Robert's there, and if he's happy enough to talk to us, I'd be interested in the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, here you go, Sarah.
Robert, you're very welcome. And just, Robert, just to say to you, we don't want to be identifying anyone involved in the funeral. That's their private business, obviously. But I am interested in the grand. I'm interested in the conversation that you had though with the clampers. What did you say to them first?
Yeah, well, I seen the clampers arriving. It was a van with two men in the van, and I said to them, "Hold on," I said, "You're camping here. There's a funeral in process." I said, "No, they shouldn't be parking there." They wouldn't listen to me. And I said, "Look, they're only," and I said, the funeral mass is up the road. It's literally 100, 200 yards up the road is where the funeral procession was, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I said, they're only going to be there until the mass is over. They come back, and then they'll be gone off to the Balgricken Cemetery.
So the funeral procession was in progress at the time, as you say?
Was in progress at the time. Was in progress at the time, yeah. And I had said to them that, look, they're there, and they're up there to be back within the hour, because the mass will only be for an hour. So I said, you want to hold off until clamping until an hour, and then if they're still here in an hour, we're then going and clamp them. But he wouldn't give us any time. No. He said no, they were legally parked, and that was it. Yeah.
And we hear there from Joe. He's saying this wouldn't happen in his part of the country. He's surprised this is the way things are done in Dublin. Do you think this is the way things are done in Dublin?
Oh God, no, I've never heard of this. No. I've never heard of anyone being clamped at a funeral, to be honest with you. No, and you surely give some leeway to somebody if they're grieving at the most vulnerable point of time of their life, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But they just I pleaded with them. No, they just wouldn't listen to me. No, wouldn't listen.
Okay, well, thanks for letting us know, Robert, your own situation. I might get Joe back if he's still there. Joe,
I'll do that shortly. Many thanks indeed, all right?
Yeah, thanks a million. Thanks a million, Robert. Bye-bye. And Joe, you're still there, are you?
I am, Sarah. Yeah. That's. I didn't really know what went on out there. That's why I put you on to Robert.
Yeah.
So
the people then, the people who had their cars clamped. Do we know then? Did they have to wait? I suppose they did. They had to wait till the clamper companies came back. That can take an hour and a half. It can take longer.
He's out there at the moment taking clamps off.
Oh, it's all right. So how long have they been waiting now?
Since about whatever time I can, probably 10:30, I suppose, this morning. Well, when they got back from the funeral mass, they needed to get to the graveyard. So I was speaking to the deceased grandson. I didn't know who he was, and I just said, look, we're trying to get something sorted for you here. I tried ringing Dublin City Council, and then I saw the local TV was Darragh O'Brien, and I just tried to do a search for his number, probably impossible to get that anyway. But I tried just, to do the best I could to get these people. One car was an Northern car, and the grandson's car was there as well.
So how did the grandson get to the church then?
Robert brought the brother of the deceased member up to the church.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the grandson then, his car was clamped, so he had to find his own way really to the church, to the graveyard.
To the church, yeah. Himself and a few other people, and the neighbours were there. The neighbours were all out, and they couldn't believe what was going on because they said it's not an area that clamping would be going on, but especially, if it was a busy area or they were disrupting traffic or something like that, you might say to yourself, well, there was a need to get cars out of the way.
Yeah,
but, I was shocked when I did because I just took a look and said, those cars aren't, there's no WL lines, the cars aren't interfering with anybody.
Yeah, it's in the middle of a quiet housing estate, really, is what we're talking about here.
Well, it's just off, we can see Hope there, it's lovely.
Yeah. We won't identify it exactly, but in Raheny, in a housing estate in Raheny, as you say, it's a residential area. They weren't disrupting traffic.
Residential area, a nice, lovely part of Dublin here, and when Robert initially came in, I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was a wind up or something,
Okay.
And when I went out and took a look, I was shocked. And look, I'd be an open-minded person, and I'd understand if it was a built-up area and they were causing traffic disruption or something like that, I'd say fair enough. But the words, paying respect to a dead person,
Well, hopefully they get their cars unclamped soon, but it just doesn't add anything now to what's going to be a very difficult day for those people.
If that's modern day Ireland, Sarah, it's a sad reflection on the way things are allowed to happen. Yeah. That's all I'd say.
Well, is it modern day Ireland? I'm going to ask our listeners if you've had an experience like that, you can get in touch with us on 51551. The phone number is 0818715 Maybe it was a once off. Maybe this sort of thing doesn't happen. Hopefully, this sort of thing doesn't happen, Joe. But listen, thank you so much for calling the programme to let us know. I'll be interested to hear from you. Joe Smith, thank you very much.